Alex Hansery here, coming to you on September 25th in the year 2017. Welcome to today's early morning video. The still image, is just there as a still image. We're not going to be heavy on imagery today. Feel free to kick back and just listen to this as a radio show. But we are going to be returning our focus to the idea of alien cults. That is to say, not necessarily people that believe in the idea of human beings not being alone in the universe. We're not so much picking on people with a greater level of understanding of potential reality. We are actually focusing on real cults. We are actually focused on deceivers in the spiritual community. So I've made mention of several individuals in past videos, and I'll be honest with you, there seems to be an almost kind of abracadabra type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Superstition with dropping the names of known deceivers that may actually be walk-ins. So the question isn't whether or not spirits exist or whether or not aliens exist. We're really calling into question, and not only myself, I just got done watching days worth of videos regarding one particular female speaker out of Idaho who is known for her model-like beauty and amazing claims of being an alien herself, not even a human. And while many of us have compassion for anyone claiming to have been sexually assaulted or molested as a child, when that becomes part of a marketing ploy, side by side, other forms of disinformation, like, telling your followers that suicide is good or that suicide doesn't come with any repercussions like being stuck in a soul matrix. Those are red flags. And I'm noticing that others are noticing the exact same red flags. So again, when I look at this female, I see someone that is sensual, someone that is very attractive, but there's reasons why certain humans, be they male or female, why certain humans, certain deceivers are very attractive to millions of people. Whereas there may be some people that are telling the truth about something and they may be very unpopular. Could be their appearance. It could be the fact that they're telling the truth. Who's to know why some people are barely able to eat, even if they've been sharing the truth for years? So what I really see before we get started here, and I have a number of videos that I could play, and I'm trying to determine what would be the best thing to do for this podcast. But I am definitely seeing a pattern. And I'm seeing a pattern when it comes to actual cult members, people that are actually running cults, people that actually have a cult-like following, and people that don't seem to show signs that they know that they're putting out disinformation. So there was one guy in the alternative media, very big, not as big as Alex Jones, but there are others that have become quite large in recent years that have been pushing disinformation within the alternative media. What a chuckle I had when I heard that this person went to go see Miss Swan. I mean, there's this whole type of evil, just mentioning the names of certain individuals. But yes, we are talking about Teal. And I talked about James Gillen and Michelle Walling in previous videos, but there seems to be a number of patterns that we can notice with the false spiritual teachers of YouTube. The high dollar conferences, the promises of enlightenment or greater spirituality by consulting them specifically. Now, when I look in the direction of Teal, there is something very sinister and satanic that I pick up on. And you can also pretty easily profile those that are the dedicated followers. And after listening to hours and hours and hours from testimony from people that have actually lived with her, and people that have followed her teachings, again, a lot of people were in shock that were drawn to her over a sense of sadness or depression, only to later find out that Teal herself has dealt with a number of mental health issues herself and nonchalantly writes off the threat of suicidal thoughts as something that the universe isn't going to judge. And that alone rang alarm bells within myself and others. Why? Because as souls, our intuition is showing us that if we off ourselves, we're stuck here. We're stuck here in this matrix of sorts if we off ourselves. And I believe this is true. And I believe there are many false teachers among us. And that ultimately this is what people prefer. So if people are duped by individuals like that, duped out of their money, duped into bad relationships, being told that polygamy is okay, to hop from, try to keep this podcast clean, to hop from lollipop to lollipop. There you go. Yeah, buddy. There are no consequences. Murder is not even bad either. All is one energy. Oh, and Hitler brought balance to the world. See, these are all things. And see, so we're going to start with that. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to go into other things. And what I'm going to ask you, as I grab my headphones here so we avoid a echoing issue, what I'm going to ask you, and you can answer down in the comment section, or you can just know the answer yourself. How prevalent are these talking points, right, in the so-called spiritual movements? So let's start here.
and then interbreeding in a way that all of the skin colors started to change.
You serious?
And that was highly influenced by our own attraction levels. So in certain cultures, like more red skin was attractive.
I'm going to go back. You may have missed a few seconds.
Red skin people tend to have the most babies. That's how it used to work. Nowadays, we're
basically what happened was the gods
Pleiadian DNA, meaning they got more of that, and there was more skin. In the humans bred. Now you've got the current human. Typically, the races that are white skinned, they had more Pleiadian DNA, meaning they got more of that, and there was more interbreeding between the Pleiadians and the humans. Pleiadians are very fair-skinned. They look more human than any other alien species. They look incredibly Scandinavian-looking. Skin is. And if you have darker skin, usually there's more human DNA present within your system. But all of that, think about the way that even when we're moving to different atmospheres, which we did, we moved to different locations on the planet, we have different environmental factors. And so all of your races are a byproduct of originally humans breeding with an extraterrestrial species and then moving to different areas and then interbreeding in a way that all of the skin colors started to change.
What we need to talk about before we go into any other clips is how we have actually entered into a reality where a lot of people are being guilt-tripped into feeling bad about their own birth based on the amount of melatonin in their skin. There's also a lot of denial that this is taking place, denial about artificial intelligence's role in the race baiting machine. So many people have been influenced towards the dark side. Their souls have been entrapped. I would say especially since 9/11, but especially in the last few years. My question has been, where are the teachers in the spiritual movements that have warned you about soul entrapment? Not a rhetorical question. That was a question. Are there going to be any answers in the comment section? Am I the only one? Not a rhetorical question. It's a question. So I notice that this is a big issue. And from what I witnessed as a young man with regards to belief systems within some of the New Age circles and having rejected some of the beliefs, I noticed there was a big time obsession with the Galactic Federation of Light, which is linked to the alleged Pleiadian beings. Now, while I don't believe that we're alone in the universe, and we may have other spirits that are out there watching us, more than likely, it seems that we are the ones that we have been waiting for. It seems that we as human beings have a responsibility to help make the world a better place. And so I've coined the term external saviorship theology. And we hear a lot from people like Teal and others claim that they have direct access to knowledge from the masters. And just by simply claiming that and playing that role, many humans fall under that spell, because it seems to come to them naturally. It seems to come to them naturally to be mystified and to be conned by walk ins. It's almost as if their biology has a history of being conned by those entities. Are you with me? Can you hear me now? Are you with me? Can you hear me now? Do you notice that a lot of quote unquote white people appear to be targeted individuals on a level in which you're like, I'm a targeted individual. But what about those that aren't saying that they're a targeted individual? Those that think that they're enlightened, but they've actually been infected for a significant amount of time. And there's ways that every individual can be targeted, but in this particular time space reality and culture that we're in, and the things that I've seen, right? And the backgrounds of those spiritual leaders, as well as the backgrounds of some of their followers, there seems to be something genetic going on. You don't really see a lot of black people. You don't really see a lot of Hispanics or people of Middle Eastern backgrounds in some of these galactic federation of the Brotherhood of Light seances. And you certainly don't hear about compassion for those that have been violently removed off the planet. Actually, what we hear from people like Till Swan and others is that maybe the actions of Hitler and others brought some sort of a balance to the earth. In other words, Hitler wasn't really a bad guy. And that's interesting because Thiel is kind of on the new age side of things. But if you look at the fake news within the conspiracy web and the rise of Hitler's popularity, especially recently, you can actually see real time crossover between disinformation in conspiracy circles as well as disinformation in the new age movement. So, going to our next video, we are going to listen to a couple. Well, instead, first we'll listen to the woman. And she is discussing why she is exposing Teal Swan. And what I'm noticing is that each one of these individuals is coming under attack of some kind. They don't normally have a habit of exposing people. It's not something they're doing for fame or fortune. In the case of the woman that we're going to listen to next, she's upset that her particular Indian guru, right, word for word, Till Swan plagiarized, right? So we have the white woman supremacy, because that's what this is. People need to lose their defensiveness when white woman supremacy is brought up as a problem in our world. It's not about suppression of whites or suppression of women. White women supremacy is a very real thing that those of us that are male and darker skin contend with and have contended with, especially for those of us that have lived in major urban environments. And it's based on the fallacy that they, for whatever reason, through their Pleiadian influence genetics, have a higher connection with cosmic beings, in a nutshell. Let's go to the video.
Hi, Namaste, Nityanandam, and thank you for tuning into this video. A lot of people have been questioning me, I would say even grilling me, very angrily some of them, about why I spoke out against Teal Swan, whom I referred to as Steel Swan because of her blatant thefts and plagiarisms, and why I felt that it was okay for one so-called spiritual person to attack another so-called spiritual person. The first thing I'd like to say here is that I am not in any way apologetic for anything that I've said about her. She has blatantly plagiarized countless articles in her blog. There's an entire website exposing all of the accounts of plagiarism that she has been not only accused of, but that have been fully proven. She's also stolen a beautiful process from Sanatana Hindu Dharma that was first revealed by Mahadeva himself in the Shiva Agamas, Vijnana Bhairava Tantra to be specific, called the completion process. She stole the teachings about the completion process, kind of ruined them by putting her own spin on how she thinks they should be done, didn't give credit to the original source, and also didn't give credit to the living incarnation who has re-revealed these to humanity in our times, Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda. Now, if she had only just stolen some teachings from other cultures, failed to give credit where credit is due, that would have been one thing. I probably would have let it go. I wouldn't have mentioned it in a video. But what she's done is extremely deplorable. What she's done is she patented the name of this technique. She patented her stupid version of this technique, which is, for all intents and purposes, very much shallow. It's surface level. Even if it gives somebody a feeling that it's helped, it's only like putting a bandage on a gaping wound. It's not going to do anything to create long-term healing. What she's done is she's taken something that was freely gifted to humanity by Sadashiva, and she's trying to profit on it by releasing seminars for which she charges money and by publishing a book for which she charges money. Now, in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, knowledge is free. That's why literally every single sacred scripture revealed is available in a free translation online. That's why even every single book my guru, Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda, has published is available as a free online download. That's why if you go to any of the Adinams, any of the Nityananda temples or Adinams.
Okay, so you're getting the point from that particular speaker. She's been following somebody, and she is upset that the teachings that have been given for free are being manipulated and changed up. It's one thing, to engage in commerce if it's your own content, if it's your own material. That's why on YouTube they want us to make our own content, monetize your content, but make sure it's your own content. Just don't steal somebody else's channel. And there are people that have been doing that. But there are people that also do that within the spiritual communities and kind of jumping from teal to somebody else. And I kind of want to get away from mentioning too many names. I mean, we're dealing with some heavy archon energy when you're dealing with calling out people that are hosts, that are walk-ins. And I'm repeating myself on certain areas because I believe those certain areas are key. There seems to be a network, and I use that area loosely, an unorganized network. But, in life and Facebook, you may notice that there are certain people that are in the networks of other people. Hey, you're friends with this person's friends with this person. Well, in real life, there are networks. And it seems that Ramtha is connected with James, other people connected with other individuals. And as I mentioned, somebody that could be compared to a cult leader within the alternative media who also thinks that he's having his own Jesus moments. Again, someone could be a Christian and be aware that there could be demons that deceive human beings by coming in the form of Jesus, a beautiful white Jesus, or in the form of a white God of some type or an archetype. And there seems to be many people that may not believe in archons or deceiving spirits that are having religious experiences. But because they don't have experiences being deceived that they know of by these spiritual parasites, they may genuinely believe that it's Jesus, that they were actually picked. Of course, this is all ego driven. So their ego is scratched, just like people that believe that they have particular access to ascended masters. And having seen this since the 1980s, I cannot testify for the legitimacy of any human being, right, who claims that they have received special knowledge because they're special from the ascended masters. It is almost always a hoax. My intuition and my soul is using my ability to come to you with a warning, because many of those people seem to be there to establish cords, to get people to watch certain videos, to become fans or obsessed with the energy frequency of certain individuals, so they themselves are affected by that same entity. And that's what I feel from watching some of these viral spiritual deceivers, to where, you actually listen to what they're saying. Most of what they're saying is false. Okay, I'm looking here to segue. We are going to listen to this African American gentleman who is in a wheelchair. We are going to start at the 20-minute mark.
Just came here to.
We'll start right now. 19 minutes and 51 seconds.
If I just up in one day decide that if I just up in one day decide that I just want to go if I decide that I just want to this is not a threat for those that are hearing illiterate, because I know some of you YouTube viewers are. But if I just decide I want to go ahead and kill your family, your children, your fiance.
He's responding to Chill saying there's no consequences for murder.
And I'll be on some sniper shit. Am I not responsible for how you feel about the crime I just committed? Then you was a stupid white lady, and you are a very imbalanced extraterrestrial starseed being. I can see it in the astral plane. Her chakras are way imbalanced, and I know mines are too. And I know I shouldn't talk about people if I'm on an imbalance, but I'm a realist. Okay, I don't have nothing to hide from nobody. You know what I mean? I would tell people what's going on with me right now, but I'd rather keep that to myself, because, like I said, everything that goes on with me is gonna always go on camera. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some things you shouldn't put on camera, because people will criticize you, and then when someone finally comes at you about it, you won't be able to answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to say, man, anybody that's listening to Till Swan, or is subscribed to her and becoming a Tiller, wake up. Oh, and to my friend Shanika, I want to apologize to you, sweetheart, for telling you to subscribe to her. I did not realize how much of a problem
And I'm
she
sorry I
caused.
recommended Alex Jones in 2005.
You know
I'm
what
real
I'm
sorry.
saying? And the fact that her clients committed suicide without a sense of direction, she is probably she's probably either getting help from her angels, or she's probably in one of the 9 dimensions of hell, which will be my very first video of fall 2017. I will be explaining that. Okay. Um, but and even I have talked about suicide. And speaking of suicide, real quick, I just want to say that if there's anybody that wants to know how to stop committing suicide, let me tell you something. You know, um, a lot of starseeds in the New Age community, I might as well just say me. Excuse me, so let me get that right. A lot of us in the starseed community, we're told not to pray because if you pray, then the evil extraterrestrials are gonna suck out your energy. My response to that is you use your own logic. To be spiritual is to have your own relationship with the divine source. That is multi-dimensional, multi-interdimensional, and that relationship belongs to you. Okay? If you wanna pray to the creator, pray to the creator. But if you are metaphysical, pray to the creator that is within yourself, because that is you. Okay? You are masculine and feminine energy. Okay?
So that's also a very important point. And what I want to say at this point is that many that have used the terminology star seed or crystal children, they seem really vulnerable to being influenced by counterfeits. Now, I think that there is such a thing as what that defines, but usually people don't call themselves that or ascended. They just do good deeds on the earth while they're here. They don't do what some of these individuals do or claim to have special healing or sight abilities with regards to Teal, because she does claim to be an alien, Arcturian. You see, everybody now that's leaning towards these terminologies, Pleiadian, Octarian, saying that they're the opposites of the reptilians, they usually steer away also from ever saying Archon, which is why I steer away from people that have fear of exposing the Archons. It almost seems to be a signature. They won't talk about the Archons, or they'll try to hijack, like James Gilliland, the Archon conversation, while their life story, right, sounds like someone touched by an Archon, given visions, led up to the hill to invite others. And it's not so much the collecting of money, but when it's based on conferences and the idea of being activated, that you can just pay $300 or $1,000 and be activated, and those that can't afford $300 or $1,000, they don't deserve to be. I'm not talking about people contributing to somebody doing what it is that they do. We're talking about extravagant energy, extravagant, deceiving energy. Money isn't evil by itself, but if people are deceiving And if people are led to believe that you can buy your way to enlightenment, that the camel really can go through the eye of the needle, and that's basically what they're suggesting. If someone just has enough money, they can be healed by teal. They can be activated by the festival at James's place because the special beings of light are there. So they're not focused on the creator, or as this gentleman is getting to, the creator within. They're still looking externally. That's why you have such a thing as an archon Jesus. That's why you have such a thing as as an archon Archangel Michael. Okay. Genuine spirits that mean us well may actually exist. But we have to sift through the deceiving spirits that are there to catch humanity as humans start seeking real answers and knowledge. It's bound to happen. That's why we're here. We're here to do more than eat and defecate and fornicate and make more humans that will do the same again, 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 again. There's also a reason why we're on a planet of 7 billion people. The greater question is, how do we get outside the soul matrix? How do we get outside of this reality? Now, when you see someone that is known to be a spiritual teacher, lower defenses when it comes to the suicide discussion, that is a big red flag that human host is there and is also in a great position financially.
Hi, my name is Aurita Shreya.
We're going to play another video here in just a moment. But when you see that takes place, that is a very bad sign. When you see others go along with that and even attack people that are questioning that, that's not a spiritual teacher attacking another spiritual teacher. That is a reality where spiritual teachers are going, wait a minute, we have someone claiming to be a spiritual teacher who's not a spiritual teacher, who is minimizing the actions of Hitler in a day and age to where we're literally seeing a resurgence of that energy is the right word, but it's not exactly the same thing as Nazi Germany. There seems to be a huge focus on removing those of Middle Eastern genetics off the planet. They still like to package things as anti-Semitic, which does, some argue, include people of the Middle East, but most people just think in terms of Jewish. A lot of people, for some reason, are really stuck in World War II. It might be some reincarnated souls from that particular era. But when you're literally seeing Afghanistan bomb back to the Stone Age, it's not exactly a replay of Nazi Germany. It is arguably much, much worse. It is arguably much, much worse what is taking place in our country, in our name. Okay? And I do not cater to individuals or listeners or others that don't have a heart, because they are all over and they will bend over backwards for the fake spiritual teacher, the fake spiritual teacher. They will bend over backwards if they are being told what they want to hear. The nature of the fallen spirit in human form is a very interesting thing to study and deserves as much commentary as Teal herself. The people that actually enjoy being lied to, the people that will never one day in a million years speak up for those that are being removed by the devil of this world. Those that will actually say what is taking place is balance, as they consider themselves. Because I heard all this cult stuff in the 80s. Oh, we're going to be raptured up to the alien spacecraft, and those with a lower DNA that didn't have an evolved DNA were left behind. So it's really beneficial to heal. We do need to heal, but to hear from Teal. To hear from Teal these views about the alien influence over skin tone. No, no, no. We're not going to talk about equator and proximity to the equator and other factors like that. We're going to get into the Pleiadians and the lighter skinned human beings. Now, people worship Pleiadians more so than they consider the creator. So it's not a surprise when you see the gatherings that it's another form of racial supremacy. See, the Trump support base and the white supremacists that come out overtly, they get to play that role. But the concept of white supremacy cuts so much deeper. It's why you're not seeing massive uprisings or even people just being verbally upset. Hey, did you hear about the culling going on? Millions of people. And then people may be wondering, what type of karmic reality does that bring the US? No! They make sure that these conversations are gutted out of the spiritual conferences. No one is allowed. And you might be asking yourself, well, how does someone organize that level of a conspiracy to make sure that compassion is never mentioned at these spiritual guru conferences? It's just labeled negative. It's the archons. Ladies and gentlemen, men and women, okay? That's the level you need to understand. Okay. It's almost as if other energies and intelligences are organizing those conferences and bringing people together and courting individuals that go to those conferences to where that disinformation is put out. It's what they omit about the current reality, and it's the lie that you can buy enlightenment $4,000. That's literally what they are promoting if you have the most basic level of intelligence. Okay, so the $500 buys you this, buys you that, and brings you connections and dialogue with those people that would not talk to others that wouldn't pay him the $500 or the $1,000. And then there's the information. Is the information legitimate? Is some of the information legitimate? And is the rest of it asinine? With some sort of a lecture from St. Gabriel that may want to link in and cord with every single person at that conference as they sit in that hard, cheap ass chair. Oh, you know what I'm talking about, honey, if you've been to that conference. Oh, you know exactly how comfortable that chair is. Was that chair really worth a $500 ticket if they can't even get you a good chair to sit in? What does that say about the conference? And maybe that's taking it too far, but let's listen to somebody else. Let's listen to another perspective. Let's listen to that relationship couple, the couple. And why are they upset? They're not bored. They're not an ugly couple. Maybe they are drama-ish. A lot of couples are, but I don't really think their intentions are all that wrong. They have an actual guru. Okay. Like picture someone that says their information is their own and they're just straight reading the Bible. You as a Christian would flip. Okay, so we have Teal literally word for word repeating what someone else is saying. These people found her and they're like, whoa. And then people were basically attacking them, attacking their appearance, attacking the fact that they're Caucasians with a red dot on their head. There are many white people or Caucasians that have found Indian teachings. I don't really understand the dot thing. Seems kind of weird to me. I'm the last person to attack them based on their spiritual understandings or beliefs. Just because they put a little red dot, I'm not going to attack the person with the red dot on their forehead, and not attack the other. So the best thing is just step away from attacking people if they wear little funny hats or whatnot because they have spiritual beliefs. Okay? So the issue that they have in this particular video is they're seeing that Teal has been married and divorced many, many times. She hops from lollipop to lollipop. She's the last one to be giving relationship advice to men and women. So Teal is basically promoting polygamy because, of course, and it's in her aura. I mean, that girl cannot be satisfied sexually. I mean, that part's clear. And we can also see it in the energy field for those that are sensitive. Others are just going to be confused at what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and listen to this couple with an interest in Indian spiritual beliefs. And I just want to say, they don't get into entities here, but that's the purpose of being polygamous. The idea of hopping from lollipop to lollipop is to spread the entity infection. So there's a reason why even spiritual men might be targeted, could be targeted by promiscuous women that don't believe in love, but just want a good humpa, 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 humpa. And I encountered those women in Portland. I still haven't encountered the loving ones that are at a deeper level. I mean, yeah, there are people commenting, but in the physical, folks, it's the zombie apocalypse. Without further ado, let's hear the video. And I'm going to go flip on the generator because we have.
Hi, my name is Amrita Shreya.
And my name is Devanata.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. This video is a reply to one of Teal Swan's videos, a video called Polyamory. And the reason we are doing this reply video is because we feel that the statements she makes in that video, and especially the mental setup she carries in that video, if you would follow that, if you would listen to what she says, and I think she has like 300,000 plus subscribers, so there's many people listening to her. If you listen to what she says and you base your decisions, your life decisions on that, we feel it's really a risk of damaging yourself, hurting yourself.
Yeah, and hurting your relationships.
Yes. So this video is a reply to why we feel this way and what our perspective is. So first you might like to know who are the both of us and why are we talking about relationships?
Well, we've been in a relationship for 10 years now, I think, yes. And married for the last few years.
Well, actually, almost 2 years.
almost 2 years. Yeah, but before we were always together, and we've been practicing spirituality together, and so we know about relationships, what it takes to have a successful relationship, and also within the spiritual context. So how can you have a relationship so that you push your partner, you support your partner to evolve spiritually? That's, I think, the most important part, and that's the context we come from in our relationship.
Yes.
And that's also the way we have looked at Teal Swan's video, and that we came across some points she makes that just don't make sense. It will not give you the right mental setup to have a successful relationship with a partner, with anybody, basically.
See, the thing is, nowadays, it's so easy to go into YouTube just to find some videos, actually the same thing you were doing right now. And you just listen to some people and see someone who is sharing something in YouTube. They might claim some certain authority, saying they're a teacher, a spiritual teacher especially. With these kind of people, you need to be very careful. If you listen to what they're saying, you will start internalizing it. And when life decisions, you need to take your life decisions, their stories will go on in your head also. You'll be basing your life decisions on what they say. So it really matters. Who do you listen to? And what do you do with what they're teaching you?
You should make sure that the person you listen to about relationships is actually experienced in that field. And that's one point we found out about Teal Swan. She has had 3 marriages, unsuccessful, and now again she's engaged. And she's talking to people about relationships, giving people advice about relationships. So, especially somebody should be experienced in the field he or she is talking about. And that's some point that we don't like about Teal Swan. She claims to be a spiritual teacher. She talks about all kinds of different spiritual topics, but she doesn't have the experience to back it up. Like everybody who knows how to use Google, they can find scriptures, they can find good books. And she mix and matches these concepts, but in the mixing and matching, it goes wrong. It's like having a cook who knows to find the best ingredients, but who doesn't know how to cook, has no experience in cooking. You wouldn't want to eat in that restaurant, right? So be careful what you listen to. Make sure you know the source of what you are listening to. You can verify the experience of the person you are listening to.
Yes. So the video we're replying to is Teal Swan's video called Polyamory. And in that video she makes a few statements. For instance, she says that people who are spiritually evolved, that they tend towards polyamory. Polyamory, she says, is having a relationship, an intimate relationship with multiple people, being faithful in those relationships also, but with multiple people. And so she says a few things about that. For instance, she says, when you are in a relationship with multiple people, what it will do to your inner space, it will make you more open to the world, more connected, more experiencing oneness more, and raising you to a higher level of love.
Okay, so this is also why it's very painful to be in a physical form, to where polygamy ideals have conquered monogamy. And so, for example, I'll just speak to my own experience and then go back to the main topic. It's very a painful incarnation to live in a society where polygamous, cheating, promiscuous is held up as more spiritual than a man who wants to love the same woman. Okay, so, a lot of you that are women that are out there that may be in denial for whatever reason, whether you intend to be in denial or not, things really dramatically shifted in the last 30 years. So there's a lot of guilt tripping that men face if they want monogamy and they want the same person. And there's a big push to be hopping from lollipop to lollipop, and that to be confused with freedom. Now, I believe people should have their freedom, but when you're passing on entities, um, when you're going from person to person to person, it's a very unhealthy thing. And that's actually what's going on. People are literally passing on entities, whether they be male or female. And I became aware of this as I felt uh, a lot of suspicion towards why it was only in a very small window of time, 2009, 2010, that Portland women, for example, took an interest in me. Now I can look back and see that that was a huge turning point in my life, 2008, 2010. And there was potential for things to turn out better than they did. Things were very lonely for me, but I did realize that there was a period in which they seemed to be attracted within a 6 month to 1 year window. I don't tend to think everything is a coincidence. I think that there is at times a reason for everything. So if there's a particular turning point in our own lives, um, and we're already targets, knowing that people's energy could be read, perhaps astrally, perhaps a person who's already a host for a spiritual parasite, once they fasten their sexual organs, if you will, like a clamp right on top of someone else's sexual organs, there could be a siphoning of energy and what felt like to be like a readout. Think of some alien sci-fi movie, like Flight of the Navigator, to where his mind is being scanned by the alien. There's something about the human to human sexual experience that to me comes across as a way for someone's energy field to be scanned, to be read, and to be polluted, to be attacked. That doesn't mean that all forms of intercourse result in this, but it does exist. Someone can be targeted. So when we think about, like the female spy from a movie, right? You know, being an intelligence operative, like some sort of a James Bond movie. We're not in a movie. We're in a spiritual reality where the spiritual conspiracy is far more important to look at than the physical. The physical is what follows spirit. Spirit and thought is what precedes the physical. So there are ways in which our energy fields very much are contaminated by agents of this matrix. And this is actually a very healing conversation for those of you that may have been subtly duped into racial superiority by thinking that beautiful white people are descendants of the higher alien gods, the Pleiadians. This is white woman supremacy. This is how some people are led to the arms of certain beautiful people that actually have no spiritual teachings, but they claim to be spiritual teachers. There seems to be an epidemic of this, and it's also very much rampant on Facebook. There are many fake spiritual teachers that are Facebook addicts. That is a very bad sign. That is bad sign number one, number two, number three, and all the rest. And then you can get into the other negative signs. When you see people that are like acting like they're healing people through Facebook, right? Or looking for people to clear through Facebook, random individuals, that is a red sign. Okay, if they're not actually exposing things on their end, If there's no actual evidence to show that they are an actual target of the archons, if they aren't actually exposing anything, people need to think twice about giving others permission to do quote unquote work on them. You need to be warned about this. There are people out there offering to unplug people, and they have followings because they speak in particular tongues that their tribal members trust. Maybe they have the same DNA from literally the same European country. It could be Irish, it could be a Celt connection. But this does seem to be a way the archons maintain control over a sizable amount of our culture. These constant obsessions with Celt or Celtism. There seems to be like an archon implant with obsessions, an idea of cultural superiority. To go back to that pure state, well, who's to say that was a pure state? Who's to say that there was an archonic reptilian infection of those cultures and societies? So this is a way they keep a lot of people of the same genetics. Again, you'll notice people of the same genetics at the conferences. It doesn't mean they're evil. You need to evolve your understanding if you're defensive and grow up. Okay. If there is a particular group of genetics with a default software program that may make them more than likely prone to Archon mind hijack, then the archons will come in the form of the spiritual teachers to get those individuals to open up their field. And they usually do so with lies. There is no evil, there is no death. All is one energy. All is one energy. To a certain degree, yes, everything is connected. But you'll notice this mantra, all is one energy. All is one energy. There's actually someone that viciously insulted me, calling me crazy for having concerns about being open, about being a combination of Afghani genetics and Anglo-Saxon genetics. I do know the combination has enhanced my perceptions. But in those enhanced perceptions, I also realize that I am a target of the archons, that we are living in a new form of white supremacy, a new form of Nazism. So there's really no point in comparing it to Hitler. What we're dealing with now on the earth is so much more darker, but doesn't have the admission of today's quote unquote spiritualist who claims to want to evolve spiritually. There are many people that claim to want to evolve spiritually that have no compassion for people in other countries. So they're not actually on a spiritual journey. They're there or listening to those videos or of the mindset that only whites are being persecuted because they're being courted. They're being prepped for something. Their souls are being prepped for a repeat existence here on the earth or for another hell. Okay, that's why they are so busy trying to keep the conversation away from the evils on the earth now, the devil of this world now, involved in a genocide now, and destroying America now, and then a future that may include white slavery, something I warn about. You know, the young white girls of today are the most vulnerable to the nightmares of tomorrow. But it's not a Muslim horde invasion. It's an actual military invasion that our nation could be facing. So, as one of the few that you've ever come across is actually warned of a Chinese Russian occupation of the United States, a person that's also faced his own energetic backlash for trying to warn people, the spite from others that say, oh no, we're already going to be enlightened by 2025 in the age of Aquarius. You need to ask yourself, why are there so many people saying the exact same lie to you that are coming in the form of a fellow tribal member? I want you to meditate on this. I want you to ask the Creator for guidance. Why are there people lying to you that look like they're from your same tribe? I.e., white people lying to white people. And why is it someone that is basically, they would say, a hybrid, someone spliced with the genes of the. Why is it me that's giving you this truth? And I'm no longer considered white by this society. Ask yourself this. Why is a guy like me living all alone, afraid for his own safety, unless the Creator, of course, lifts his hand, her hand of protection? Why would a guy like me with so much knowledge be exiled from society? So at some point, those of you that claim to be spiritual, you need to acknowledge the racism and the white woman supremacy, the white man supremacy, that does exist. Oh, they're spiritual. They remind us of our homeland and our brethren from our ancestors. That's biological. That has nothing to do with spirituality. There are people coming to you in your own form that appear as fellow tribal members that seemed hell-bent on linking you to the archons, and I will expose them. I will continue to stand against people that hate me for trying to help them and explain to them this isn't racism. Instead, by saying that those with lighter skin are more linked in with the higher alien beings, that's perverted. It's really about our soul. It's not the color of your skin. It's about your soul. So that rant is over, but a lot of people that like my channel can't handle that truth and don't hang around because they don't like to be told that. They don't like to be told that there's an archon spiritual parasite agenda within racism and within the idea of associating certain skin tones with certain alien groups. It's very unfortunate. Some people don't even know this is going on. This is the most obvious deception. This is the most obvious deception in the quote unquote spiritual communities that is taking place. Again, that is why you predominantly see people from the same part of Europe, usually leaning towards the Celt end of things or the redhead. It's not a demonization of a bloodline. It means that bloodline is being targeted and others for archon possession. They do prefer to possess certain bloodlines of humans more than others. This is the real reason why they want to get rid of people like me that have more diverse genetics than it just being from the same part of Europe. They want to get rid of us. They want to get rid of other human beings. They have a plan for the future of the earth. And it is a future that includes a brown genocide. The white genocide narrative is a lie. Those promoting the white genocide narrative are promoting white supremacy. And they will become more admitted full-blown white supremacists in the next few years, as we've seen from others. Many are in a stage of transformation as we speak. So now let's go and hear from
Hi
another
everybody,
woman.
I'm Jessica
who happened to
Schaub
have
and I'm
lived
here with Cameron Clark, and we're going to do an interview about Cameron's experience of living with teal for about a month and a half. And I just want to explain a bit more of why we're doing this interview and how it came about.
So the question is, are you okay with white women exposing teal
It's
swan?
about cults
Or
and
people
belief
just going to get
systems and
defensive
how we end up
that
getting
it's
stuck
me?
in them. What our
Again,
psychology
things
is
to
like
ask
before
yourself silently as
we
you feel that
end up
unconscious
in this
anger
situation, and
for no
after,
reason
because we tend to
rising
go
within
into
you.
one belief
As you
system
feel
after another,
offended when
or
the
one
brown
cult after
male brings
another,
you the truth,
as Cameron
how do you
also
feel when a
experienced as
white
well, and
female
she's going to
exposes
share
the
it.
same thing that
So
I
this
am?
is a lot like
We'll be back.
damage prevention and understanding the road or the potholes a mile away so you don't have to go down that road. It's not bashing or anything like that, but we decided to use teal as an example because of what I have discovered about teal has been really disturbing and appalling and dangerous, quite frankly, and it must be stopped. She must be stopped, and also her tealers as well. I think people need to know what is going on and why so many people are afraid to speak up and expose this as well, because it seems like we let a lot of things, terrible things just happen, let people get away with it, mainly because we don't speak up, because we're too afraid, and now because of the New Age kind of thinking, it's we consider it negative. You know, we always want to be positive, you always have to build everybody up, but not when they're doing something dangerous that very few people can see because they don't want to see. So, I mean, we do actually, with the EOF, focus on other speakers as well, spiritual speakers, motivational speakers, and all those kind of people. And the reason, I mean, they're also promoting a belief system as well, but they're not purposely trying to harm people or manipulate people in a very cruel way, which you will hear about very shortly as well. So that's another reason why we decided to use her as an example. We're not doing this for hating reasons or anything like that, which I'm sure we'll hear. It's mainly for exposure of, and also because we're sincerely concerned. We don't want to see
This
any
video
more
goes
people
on for
harmed,
hours, so I'm going to have to skip forward.
or that brought you there.
So, from the very beginning, or just after I was already at her home?
Sorry?
You want to know from the very beginning, like how I found her
Yeah, because I
videos
want
in the first place,
people
or just
to
how I ended up at her house?
I want people to kind of see how it kind of starts from, like, basically where you share, for example, with me, how, like, where you...
Psychologically?
Yeah, psychologically, all the things that were happening to you with work and so forth, where you feel like you're struggling and looking for something. And...
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Okay. So if I was to start at the beginning, before I found Teal, I would say it was probably at the lowest point in my life. I had just lost my job of 5 years, and I was just kind of searching for answers as far as who am I, what am I doing here, what's our purpose. Like, nothing made sense anymore. I was just kind of lost. So I ended up stumbling onto information on...
It's very important to note that she felt lost, that she wasn't tapped into her own truth prior to finding Teal. Of course, there's going to be trolls after this that are going to associate with being enlightened, their DNA being upgraded, those that didn't upgrade their DNA being left behind. This is the same stuff that I witnessed in the 1980s. Also, notice how Teal received sympathy for, discussing trauma that she endured. Whether that's true or not, there are people that really question why she seems to laugh or giggle when talking about her own running games. Most victims of those rape attacks never act as Teal Swan does, with giggles and interesting body language. So there are some that have said there is no actual evidence that those things have happened. Um, I'm not really necessarily going one way or the other. I just want people to understand, as we also look at the hosts or the people in the video, these are people that were initially drawn to the aura of Teal. And with that is a problem to begin with. Everything else is just the aftermath.
Illuminati and David Icke and Alex Jones, and I spent like several unemployed months just...
It's also very interesting as we look at her with her eyes bugged out. She was listening to David Icke and Alex Jones first. David Icke puts out a lot of good stuff, more so in his earlier years. Where he is now, consciously, that is definitely something that could be debated. Alex Jones has become somewhat of a monster. Was she listening to Alex Jones in the earlier days, or after Alex Jones was already taken by the demons of this world? Also, a very important question for the girl with her eyes bugged out.
freaked out and paranoid in my apartment and doing internet research on this stuff. And eventually I got tired of being scared. So...
But there is a lot going on with this girl spiritually, if you're able to pick up on it. And that's what led her and others to Teal. While the girl in the little square box seems to be really genuine at bringing out this knowledge and information. She seems as annoyed by I am by people that are entrapping these souls.
I was looking for answers that would make me feel better online, and I stumbled onto, I think there was a couple of Teal videos at first, or spirit science videos, I can't remember which, but I think I found Teal through spirit science. But anyways, after that, like, her videos on self-worth and deserving, like, they had a huge impact on me. I'd been struggling with an eating disorder for over 10 years, and just her ideas on things really changed my outlook. So, like, just asking, what would somebody love themselves do? Totally changed how I was treating myself. So I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I kept basically studying and watching her material, and I read her books, and I studied everything I could find of hers for about 6 months, and I actually did start to feel... I really believe she was hoping. I felt like...
So this woman actually had a full so many months to look into Teal before, like, attempting to move in with her. So she had already avoided, and we look at her eyes again. So there could be some people, right, that are very drawn to, and you really can watch this for yourself, but there's something about this girl. And there's something about a number of humans that are alive today. Some people call them hybrids. Some people believe that they are spliced in with grays. And I found that a lot of the female victims of the grays have Stockholm syndrome and have been brainwashed to think that the grays didn't actually hurt them. So there's actually a really big deal, and I didn't mean to pause it right there, but there's obviously something going on with her. It seems like Teal and others, even in the alternative media, they're there to absorb uh, the attention of other hybrids. There's something that they're attracted to. People are attracted to certain souls because of the archon or the entity inside that body. So this is why you have rock stars like Alex Jones, Teal Swan, others in alternative media that I'm not going to mention. There's a reason why when we look at their eyes, sometimes we do see a reptilian or we do see a hybrid. It doesn't mean that they are. I'm going to go ahead and play without her speaking, and we'll continue to kind of observe her. But there's reasons why some of these women that seem to have particular bloodlines, and we notice it when they blink, they're drawn to the cult leaders. So many white people are asking themselves, why are they being targeted? But they may not realize that particular genetics that are accessible to those dark beings, those are the ones that they're targeting. But ultimately, those are the humans that they want to remain on the earth. That's why they created a false white genocide narrative when it's a brown genocide. That's why they're creating white supremacy. That's why also these women talk for 2 hours about their issues. They don't once mention that Teal Swan doesn't discuss the dark things going on in the world because they're just there to discuss their own issues and their own lack of finding their spiritual center and a sense of, for lack of a better word, but very popular in this sick culture, butthurt that they didn't get their spiritual enlightenment, that they came across someone who was basically on the dark side. They're having a difficult time. They don't say the word Archon once. They don't seem to understand that Teal is a walk-in. They don't seem to have any knowledge as to what's going on. They're doing their job and they're putting out there that they've been conned, but they don't possess the intuition, the spiritual guidance or growth to call out the role that Teal is playing. They aren't able to do that. They cannot say the Archon world. In fact, many people have been brainwashed to either believing that they don't exist or that you can't say the word Archon or something bad will happen to you. So there's massive spiritual mind control at play. Let's just go ahead and glean a few more statements.
Change the world, basically. And I was like, cool, I want to be part of that. I want to someplace to belong. I'm tired of being isolated. I'm tired of being scared. And if this is the way to do it, then absolutely, I want to work in volunteer.
I mean, this is really just a diary of a cult member. There's no spiritual teachings that you're going to get from this. This is really a deep, profound insight into the types of individuals that have been affected. So, I really could go on and on and on. And I was really on the fence about doing this particular podcast, but it needs to be done. There was a reason why I felt drawn to watch the videos, to download the videos that I did. I feel that waking people up to this is way more important than a 12th or 13th video about North Korea, Iran, Afghanistan, some other country. Sure, there are many people being killed, and that is a horrific thing. Let's also, though, talk about those people within our own culture. Some would identify, to be within their own tribe. And they need to start asking themselves the larger spiritual questions. Why do these cult members have a lot of followers from the same tribe or part of Europe? Why are the archons targeting a lot of white women from the same part of Europe? What is in the DNA that they're seeking to manipulate? What is in the DNA that they appear to prefer over other forms of DNA, as I notice distinct ringing in my left ear? I'm Alex Ansary, folks. A human who's not afraid of the other side, who's not afraid to expose the archons, who's not afraid to say archon. And ironically, I am a human who's considered to be outside the tribe of those that very much love these cult figures. What is it? What is it that's so different about me that has led to my alienation from all humans to speak to you now from the woods? I don't know, but subscribe and I'll be back with a new video. Talk to you later.